Betsy LaVoy with the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce is going to open things up here with her opening remarks. So Betsy, come on up. We'll get this show started.
Good evening and welcome to the 2026 Fountain Hills Council Candidate Forum. I'm Betsy LaVoy. I believe you all know me, the CEO and President of the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce, and love to share resident of Fountain Hills since 1978. And yes, I am only 26 years old. I'd love to welcome Madeline Phipps to the stage. She's our senior local government affairs representative from Salt River Project to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and share a sponsor message from SRP. Please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all, I'm Madeline, senior local government affairs representative at the Salt River Project. As you might know, SRP is a not-for-profit utility company providing reliable and affordable water and power to more than 2 million customers in Arizona. We've had a long-standing partnership with the town of Fountain Hills as well as the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce. We are proud to sponsor chamber events like the one tonight, allowing chamber members and those in the community to hear directly from candidates about their priorities for the town. A core value of SRP's culture is our belief in supporting engagements that provide candidates the opportunity to participate in a civil discourse. We hope all the candidates reflect that value here tonight too. Thank you all for your willingness to participate in tonight's nonpartisan forum, and a big thank you to Betsy and her team at the Chamber for this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you, Madeline. We appreciate SRP, and we appreciate each and every one of you for joining us here tonight. We're delighted to provide this opportunity for our residents to get to know their candidates in this positive and informative candidate forum. As our mission states, the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce exists to provide effective education, networking, advocacy, and marketing to support the prosperity of local commerce and nonprofit organizations. The Public Policy Committee, as well as Civil Affairs at FHCCA, has spent well over 14 hours curating the questions for the forum tonight. We extend our sincere gratitude to our valued partners, particularly SRP, whose generous sponsorship has made this event possible. Partnerships like these enable us to continue to offer enriching programs for our community to enjoy. We also appreciate the collaboration with Civic Affairs from the Fountain Hills Cultural and Civic Association, you all know it as I Love Fountain Hills, and the Town of Fountain Hills for tonight's program. Additionally, a big thank you to Kathy from Toastmasters for running the timing portion of this event. We love Toastmasters. We're not at all biased. I'd love to now introduce Jeff Lizetta to speak. Jeff is currently serving on the FHCCA board as the chairperson for Civic Affairs Committee, as well as the chairperson for the Public Policy Committee at the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce. Jeff, welcome to the stage.
Thank you, Betsy. It is my pleasure to be here this evening on behalf of the Fountain Hills Cultural and Civic Association Civic Affairs program. The purpose of the FHCCA, or as many of you know it, I Love Fountain Hills, is to develop, promote, and operate programs and activities that will preserve and enhance the cultural, civic, educational, and social qualities of Fountain Hills. I Love Fountain Hills currently has over 14 member programs under its umbrella, one of which is Civic Affairs. The origin of Civic Affairs dates back to 2010, and its mission continues to be to promote civic involvement of residents in the town of Fountain Hills, particularly in the promotion of voter participation in local elections. Over the years, Civic Affairs has co-hosted candidate forums not only for town council elections, but also for Fountain Hills Unified School District Board elections and Fountain Hills Sanitary District Board elections. Special forums were held in 2013, 2017, and 2023 for bond elections. Before we move on, I would like to take a moment to express my gratitude to I Love Fountain Hills for providing a platform for so many wonderful organizations to make a positive impact in our community. Thank you so much. I love Fountain Hills. I would also like to take a moment to thank Betsy Lavoie, the Fountain Hills Chamber staff, and members of the Fountain Hills Chamber Public Policy Committee for dedicating the time and effort necessary to draft and refine the questions that will be asked tonight and planning and delivering this great event. So thank you so much for your continued partnership. The format for tonight is to learn more about the 6 candidates that are seeking election to serve on the Fountain Hills Town Council. Here's how the format will look. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to make their opening statement. A series of 7 questions will be presented to the candidates, and responses will be limited to 90 seconds. The timekeeper will provide visual cues at set intervals that will indicate when 30 seconds remain, 10 seconds remain, and when time has expired. The order in which the candidates will give opening and closing statements and answer the questions has been randomly selected. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to make their closing statement. Now, before we begin the program, I was going to read a statement about civility and the code of conduct, but I'm going to go off the cuff here. I've been in Fountain Hills for about 5 years now, and I have found that there is a lot of great difference of opinion in Fountain Hills as far as perspective on how things should be run. But there's one thing I know for sure. Everyone in this room loves Fountain Hills and wants the best for its future. And with that, I want to remind everyone that the point of tonight's event is to listen to the candidates and hear what they have to say about leadership and how they will address a variety of issues that relate to local government. In order to be successful, I ask all of you to be respectful of our neighbors, even when those differences of opinion exist, and just be mindful of that. We will get started here. I'm going to switch seats and go to the other microphone, and we'll begin with our opening statements. Thank you, everyone, for your support and for your attendance, and we're looking forward to a great event here tonight. All right, we're going to meet our candidates and we're going to hear their opening statements. Again, we have 2 minutes for each statement, and just a reminder of the visual cues are going to be the green card is when there's 30 seconds remaining, the yellow card is when 10 seconds are remaining, and the red card is when time has expired. If you see the red card, please finish up your thought. Please do not introduce any new thoughts. The goal is to keep everything on schedule. We want to be respectful of the community center and their staff here tonight. So with that, we'll begin opening statements. The first candidate we're going to hear from is Jeff Tate.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeff Tate. I'd like to thank the Chamber, FHCCA, and SRP for hosting tonight's event. This is not my preferred method of meeting new people. I definitely would rather sit down and talk to people one-on-one and listen to their concerns and thoughts. But today I'm here before you pledging to use my knowledge and capabilities to work for the residents of Fountain Hills. Hard work is not new to me, nor are open dialogue and research to get to the root of what needs to be accomplished. A little bit about myself. I was born and raised in New Hampshire. I attended Northeastern University of Boston on a Mirick scholarship and received my degree in mathematics. I was the first in my family to go to college. After college, I got involved in surveying and civil engineering. I started my own design drafting company in 2002. My wife Holly and I have been visiting Fountain Hills since the late 90s. And we moved here 4 years ago once our kids had finished primary school. In New Hampshire, I was elected to a term on the town budget committee and the school board, a district that included 2 other Senate towns. I was also the co-chair of our kindergarten building committee, and we oversaw the construction of the town's first kindergarten and pre-K building, which I'm proud to say was completed on time and on budget. Our whole family was very involved in the school and town. We volunteered at the local equestrian riding center, the PTA, too many fundraisers to count, and Parks and Rec department events. Our Our vision of moving here was to settle into a nice quiet life, but that didn't last long. I heard the call to serve once more, and here I am before you asking for your vote. Thank you. I'm Jim.
Thank you. If you wouldn't mind holding your applause till the very end, just so we can keep on schedule. We've got quite a full agenda here. So next up is Catherine Mirick.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Catherine Mirick, and I'm really happy to be here tonight. I want to say thank you to the Chamber and to FHCCA and to all of you for spending an evening talking about local government. I'm up here tonight because I believe that we deserve leaders who are experienced, ready to listen, and bring a fresh perspective to our town council. My background is in financial services and community service. Before making Fountain Hills our home, I spent over 2 decades actively involved in town government in Wellesley, Massachusetts. I served as an elected town meeting member for 12 years. That's their local legislative body, where I helped make decisions about zoning, budgets, and infrastructure, much like the decisions our council here makes. I also served 4 years on the school board, including a term as its chair, where I navigated difficult conversations about how to allocate limited funds, how to rebuild aging facilities, and how to get people with strong opinions to find common ground. And that's what we need here. We need collaborative leadership that's willing to have the difficult conversations, not shut them down. All of our residents should feel welcomed at town council meetings. Here in Fountain Hills, I took part in the Fountain Hills Leadership Academy last fall, and that really deepened my understanding of how the town works, from public safety to infrastructure to economic development. I've gotten involved at the community center, and my husband Chris and I participate in Make a Difference Day. I've attended and spoken at town council meetings, and I've watched how decisions are currently made, and I know we deserve better. I'm looking forward to our discussions tonight and to put my experience to work for you. Thank you.
Just a round of applause till the end, because we've got a lot to cover here tonight. Next up, Ben Larrabee.
Well, hello everyone. I first want to say thank you to the Chamber and our amazing sponsors and everyone for coming out this evening. For those of you who don't know, my name is Ben Larrabee, and the reason I'm up here tonight is to make sure that Fountain Hills thrives for generations to come. After receiving my bachelor's degree in the Interdisciplinary School of Global Studies at the University of South Florida, my entire career has been spent working throughout all levels of government and public service. In my current role, I lead a team of data analysts in one of the most precise and accurate operations in the country. I am ready to bring my analytical experience to the town council to make sure our budgets are streamlined, that we root out inefficiencies, and to make sure that results are delivered for residents. Now, after spending the last 2 years attending just about every single council meeting and making sure I learned the intricacies of our local government and the roles of our town staff, I am ready to combine it with my experience of leading field teams all over the country to make sure we continue the great progress we've made in repairing our roads, making sure businesses are attracted to town, and keeping our town safe. But one of the biggest reasons I'm before you tonight is my family and my daughter, who we welcomed last week. Much of my immediate family is already in town. My daughter is going to be raised here, and I want to be sure that whether it's young families like mine, new or existing residents, everyone has an opportunity to live, to grow, to thrive, to invest, and to make sure they have the honor of calling Fountain Hills their home. So when you're deciding on who to vote for, may I suggest you start with somebody like myself, who has this much skin in the game and is ready to get to work on day one. Thank you, and I hope to have your vote.
So I'm going to allow everyone to clap for all the candidates. Next up, Dan Kovacevic.
Thank you. And thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you to the Chamber, FHCCA, and SRP for this opportunity. I am Dan Kovacevic. I'm a candidate for Town Council, a 15-year resident of Fountain Hills, 7-year member and current chairman of the Planning and Zoning Commission, 25-year builder and developer, and current chief financial officer of Pillarstone Capital Re. Since I announced my candidacy, the number one question asked me by the voters is, why? My answer is that I have applicable skills and experience missing from the council that will benefit all the residents of Fountain Hills. My motivation stems from the apartment project at the Target Center. The majority support of the town council and perhaps many residents did not understand that approval gave away $2.7 million to the developer. $2.7 million. I spoke at the council meeting that night and said, if you don't negotiate something from the developer for that $2.7 million, you aren't doing the best you can do for our town. One of the yes votes turned to the town attorney and said, can we do that? That sounds illegal. Well, of course you can do it. The town attorney answered, you can do it with a development agreement. That was the aha moment for me. That convinced me that I had something to offer the town and that I would have made a difference on the dais that night. A huge opportunity was missed by the town. Perhaps some of the cost of the shade widening could have been borne by that development. Perhaps petitioner could have installed sidewalks to make a retail industrial area more resident friendly. Something, anything for $2.7 million. I negotiated many planned area development agreements in my career. 0 out of $2.7 million is not a fiscally responsible choice for Fountain Hills. I enjoy my time volunteering at P&Z, but I believe I have experience that will better serve all the members of Fountain Hills as a council member. I look forward to meeting you and hearing your thoughts and concerns on the issues facing Fountain Hills.
Next, Susan DeGennaro.
So close. Hi, my name is Susan DeGennaro. Thank you to the Chamber and the Fountain Hills Civic and Cultural Association and SRP for the invitation. And for everyone here coming out tonight, it really means a lot to me to see you all here. After college, I moved around a bit, but where I lived just didn't matter. I had my husband, and he was my home. After he passed, I lost that feeling. And in taking care of our son, I moved to various places around the U.S., but nothing felt like home. And then we found Fountain Hills. I am very proud to call Fountain Hills my home for the past 7 years. As you all know, Fountain Hills is a very special place. People come here and stay here because of the quality of life, because of our safety, and our strong sense of community. But right now, too many residents are feeling shut out of the decisions that shape our town and shape its future. We've seen controversy over public comment, questions about how decisions are being made, meetings that are stoking division and are not being very efficient, and that is not strengthening our town. I am here because I am a passionate volunteer and an advocate for others. I want to make sure every resident has a voice. Whether you're going to whisper at me or shout at me, I am willing to listen. You will know the clear reason for every decision I make and every action that I do that would benefit this town. We can protect what makes Fountain Hills special without shutting people out. This town works best when everyone has a seat at the table, and I am running to make sure that seat is never taken away. I look forward to answering the questions tonight, talking to the residents, and feel free to reach out to me anytime. My email and my phone are on my website, susanforcouncil.com.
Next up, Matthew Corrigan.
First of all, my thanks to SRP, Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce, and FHCCA for the opportunity. My name is Matthew Corrigan, and I'm your choice candidate for Fountain Hills. Think of this as a job interview. I have 5 key principles for improving Fountain Hills. Economic vitality, by supporting and promoting our businesses here in Fountain Hills to make us a destination point in Arizona. Public safety, by supporting MCSO law enforcement. Smart development, which means strategic plan development of our neighborhoods. And also fiscal responsibility, which means making the right decisions on spending and also cutting waste. And of course, all resulting in ultimate quality of life here in Fountain Hills. For 2 years, I worked as a manager for 2 Fortune 500 companies. And I successfully learned that listening to customers and answering their questions with solutions made me successful and them successful too. I also owned and operated my own small business and offered a valuable product at a competitive price with every focus on customer service. I also served as a vice president of a 210-home HOA board, where I fired management necessarily, cut duplicate services, and created opportunities that actually raised our property values and created equity for all of us. The key thing here is that I'm on planning and zoning right now as a commissioner, and I work with the other commissioners in maintaining our ordinances here in Fountain Hills. I want to continue to do that, but what I'd really like to do is offer all of my management skills to the service of Fountain Hills. I've got the red sign, thank you very much.
Okay, moving on to the question portion of the program. Again, we have 7 questions. Each candidate is going to have 90 seconds to respond. Being that there's 6 candidates, Betsy is going to hand out a printed copy of the questions so that if you are towards the end of the random selection, you'll be able to reference the sheet. So question number 1. Fountain Hills has a unique identity shaped by its small town character, natural setting, and sense of community. How would you define the appropriate balance between population growth and preserving Fountain Hills' small town character? What specific policies would you propose or support to manage responsible growth? First up, Dan Kovacevic.
Thank you. The ordinances that are already in place will support the small town growth that we want. We need to have growth. I manage a 2.5 million square feet shopping centers from Anthem to Chandler. If you look at a shopping center brochure, you'd see 1, 3, and 5 mile radius populations. 25 centers, the lowest 5 mile radius population was Fountain Hills Fascist Center. So we need growth in order to bring businesses to support our businesses. And, but we want the right kind of growth. And we're going to get growth from Toll Brothers coming and building. We have the state trust land to the north, and that should be coming soon. I know that one of the big, large national developers has been sniffing around that. That's likely to be residential. For example, Trader Joe's, in order to open a Trader Joe's, they want to see 150,000. That compares to our 17,000 5-mile radius. Nobody wants to get to that number here. But if we want to do more business, we need to bring in more visitors and more residents. We're opening the Dark Sky Center. We can bring more visitors to the fountain. But bringing in more residents, we want to do it with lower densities, low density, multifamily where we have the chance. And that will support our businesses and bring in a wider variety of goods and services. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Ben Larrabee.
Well, here's a little history lesson for you. Fountain Hills was initially designed to house 72,000 people within its borders. Now we're probably going to cap out at around 30,000, and that is by design. Because what many of my predecessors have wisely envisioned is that we want to keep our small town feel as we continue to grow. For those of you who have read a strategic report that the council produced, they specifically know that although we are in an urban environment, we still must work as a council to keep our small town feel. That's why I'm so excited to have the potential to work on and implement the downtown streetscape program, which is going to be about an $11 million investment through the fiscal year 2030. That is going to revitalize our downtown while keeping our character. And to Dan's point, and he's done fantastic work on this in planning and zoning, while mistakes were made with the target development, with other developments, what we need now is a council that is going to put an emphasis not on high-density housing, but to make sure our single-family homes not only maintain in value, but increase in value, because that will be the backbone of our community and will contribute more than almost anything else to us remaining a small town.
Thank you. Next up, Susan DeGennaro.
Sorry, thank you. Trying to read the question. One of the things that is very clear is that growth is going to happen regardless. It's not a matter of whether or not something is going to happen. Developers will come in, they'll leave. Residents will come in, see this town and want to stay. What matters is how we grow. That the growth has appropriate guardrails to it. That the appropriate questions are asked. That we don't drag out things for year after year after year trying to figure out whether or not we are going to develop on the app or not, whether that's actually going to happen. There should be more discussion about how we're growing, making sure that the growth has guardrails on it, and that we keep the strategic and the strategic look and feel of Fountain Hills. We want to keep our standards as they are, so that any growth that we're doing is done with the agreement and the understanding of the town. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Jeff Tate.
All right. As far as what kind of growth we need in town, obviously everyone wants thoughtful, town-enhancing growth. We're looking at more walkable downtown already, possible entertainment area. We saw the staff, that our town staff just did calculations on what would make a vibrant downtown, and they were talking about needing 450 more housing units in the downtown area to make it a vibrant downtown. So we do have to look at what we need to develop in order to make this happen. Toll Brothers were mentioned. Those are lovely homes, but they had part-time residents mostly. We need to look into how we can add young families that can afford to live here. It just has to go back to being a thoughtful consideration on how to moderate that growth and to balance it out. To go back to the Toll Brothers houses, you can build this most expensive house you can think of, and it doesn't bring any tax base to our town. It doesn't pay for anything. We need to have people who are here shopping and paying the sales tax in order to keep developing our town.
Thank you. Next up, Mirick.
Thank you. So our identity as a small town is so amazing. I think of it as we all came for the views and we stayed for the community. I love that I can play mahjong with my group of ladies on Monday here in this room at the community center, and then see those same ladies at the farmer's market or walking around in Fountain on a Friday morning. But our town, we'll talk a lot about budget tonight, I'm sure. But most of you probably know that our town budget is more than 50% based on local sales tax. So if we're going to have sales tax, enough sales tax to pay for our roads and our public safety, we need local businesses. And if we're going to have local businesses survive, we need people to shop in them. So we have to have some growth in order to keep that circle of life of our town going. Right now, we don't have places in town, very many places, that our firefighters and our teachers can afford afford to live. The median home price is $800,000. So we need to get some varied housing in. The council did just finally pass the downtown overlay district that will allow for more mixed-use development in Plat 208, the area just to the north of Avenue of the Fountains, and I think that can make a difference. But we need to think about how to do that in a respectful way. You'll see on all my material, one of my platforms is respectful growth, because we need some growth, but we need to do it in a way that preserves our town character. Thanks.
Thank you. Next up, Matthew Corrigan.
Thanks for the question. Actually, think of this as a job interview. So my experience tells me on planning and zoning as one of the commissioners that we've been through this once or twice before. I think that probably Dan has the right answer, Ben has the right answer, and that is that there are opportunities out there for growth. We just recently, planning and zoning approved, and the town council approved the Toll Brothers project. I want to point out that there were modifications given by Toll Brothers, and they worked with the community to resolve some key issues. It went from 29 homes to 25 homes. They set a 9-acre set aside for a preserve. They supplied a park where there were the 4 homes that they removed. All negotiation, all with the neighbors, all done strategically. And again, back to the interview question. What was my first topic? Strategic plan development. That's the key. This is a job interview. We've got to have answers, not different things. So the other thing is the 1,295 acres of state trust. Yes, there might be some interest from a builder out there, and I don't like the term affordable housing. Realistically, we don't have that in Fountain Hills, but I like the term entry-level housing. Did you know that the government has 7 different programs for entry-level purchases? That aside, we can use the state trust land for that project. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Moving on to our second question. The future lake line replacement and current road resurfacing dominate infrastructure discussions in Fountain Hills, but they represent only 2 of our needs. Beyond these 2 topics, what infrastructure improvements would you prioritize, whether maintaining or upgrading existing systems or adding new infrastructure that does not currently exist? First up, Catherine Mirick.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so right now, obviously Lakeliner and road repairs are the big dollar signs that we're seeing as a town. So I think that there's not going to be a lot of room in our budget for other things, but I also think that we need to make sure that we have our 5-year plan of maintaining what we're doing. There's some upgrades going on in the community center. There's some air conditioning repairs in the town buildings that we need to make sure we have planned and budgeted for. In terms of new things, there was a proposal for the Sierra Madre Park that would be adjacent to this new Toll Brothers development. You know, we need to think through, is that something that the town is ready to spend funds on? But really, I think it's a question of, more broadly, what does the town want versus what does the council want? You know, if I make it onto council and we're looking at where should we spend money, I think we have a town hall and we have people come with their suggestions, and then we use that as a way to move forward. You know, there have been ideas that we should have a theater in town. We got a really smart population here, and they've got a lot of good ideas, and we need to use those. Thanks.
Thank you. Next up, Matthew Corrigan.
Thanks again for the opportunity. Let's address these topic by topic. First of all, the lake liner. The lake liner might be anywhere from $14 to $17 million. That might be bad news. The good news is it passed the 20-year warranty, and it passed the most recent leak evaporation test done by the town. So we're on good ground here. Also, kudos to the mayor. He set aside some money in the town council, thank you very much, building up reserves for the lake liner. They know it, we know it, and a future is being planned. That doesn't mean that if it happens tomorrow and the lake liner fails, which I doubt, that we're not prepared. But the alternative is not just the lake liner, roads, streets, infrastructure. signs, curbing, sidewalk. All of that is being done. And I might remind everybody that some of the savings from the Palomino street were used to pave other streets. Scorpion, Bumblebee, Kim, Blackbird is right underway. There's probably 10 streets that are being paved right now. It's being done. There's 10 million set aside next year for streets and infrastructure. So it's being accomplished. I want to continue that accomplishment. I want to continue the plan that's already in place, which I've done is done with strategic planning and very methodical set-asides. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, Dan Kovacevic.
Roads and Lake Liner are off the table, so I'm not going to talk about those. The washes, we definitely need to spend some time in the washes and cleaning out the washes. Maybe it's 7 or 8 years ago now, we had 3 150-year storms in a matter of 5 weeks, and we have to make sure that we're prepared in case something like that comes up again. Other infrastructure improvements are the parks. I know they've got a lot of plans to do replace the shade structures in some of the parks around Fountain Park and Fort Meade Park. We've got $10 million set aside or projected for Sierra Madre Park. We're doing the Dark Sky Park. So that's another area where we have new infrastructure that currently does not exist. And those are the areas. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Susan DeGennaro.
Thank you. So this gives me a chance to tell you a little bit about my background. As a solution architect, and I'm a software engineer and solution architect, what does that mean? That means I have to sit with the client and discuss their budget and their priorities. This is asking me what my priorities are. If I get elected, my priorities are your priorities. When I sit there with the client, we look at budget and we create a prioritized list. There should be, if there isn't already, an asset management process in this town that already tells us what our priorities are, what things are going to start failing, what things we have to update, what things we have to increase. And a wish list. Wish list is always great. We should be, as Catherine said, I totally agree, as the council, we should be facilitating communication with the town to talk to them about where they think their tax dollars should be going. That list of priorities then should be discussed about how much it's going to cost so you can match it with the budget, and that's what I do in my job. We get to decide what the priorities are and which ones we're going to give up because of the budget and which ones are more important. And working through that is what I'm good at. That's what I do. So that's what I would be looking for. Discussion with the town, open forums to talk about where we should make improvements, and ensuring that is documented and you get to see it.
Thank you. Next up, Ben Larrabee.
So given that the lake liner and repairing our roads will cost an estimated $67 million, that is a lot of money to talk about later, but let me give you a couple things nonetheless. So first off, this is exactly why you need somebody with my analytical background on town council. Because, as was mentioned, there's not going to be a lot of money left over after these projects are finished. And you need somebody to be able to spot discrepancies and waste when they come about. For example, a couple of years ago, some of you might remember this, the town was planning to spend $1 million to design a roundabout. Not build it, design it. So you need to make sure you have somebody with my skill set and people like Dan's skill set, people like Matt's skill set on the council, so what they're in is waste, that we have it reserved to get the maximum benefit out for residents. Now, like I mentioned, one of the most important things is obviously going to be the downtown streetscape program, in which $10 million is going to be going over till 2030. That has to be managed properly. Beyond that, Plot 208. For those of you who don't know, downtown, it essentially means that 100 some odd owners who agree on nothing must agree on everything in order for anything to get done. We have to be sure, whether it's a parking garage or some other type of infrastructure, if any development is going to be had down there, we need to get it in the room, we need to get that figured out. And finally, just because I get asked this question so much, yes, we're keeping the dog park, yes, we're improving the dog park, and I will look forward to working with Parks and Recreation to make it the most beautiful in the state.
Thank you. Please hold your applause, please hold your applause. Next up, Jeff Tate.
Well, everyone's taking everything away from me, so. Actually, one of the things I'd like to talk about is, when we first started visiting here, Fountain Hills didn't have a fire department. So, I mean, it's great that there's, that's one, having EMTs local, being able to have quicker response times is fantastic. That ties into like fireproofing our washes and getting out there and getting rid of the, invasive species that are just waiting to burn. And I will say that one of the things that I truly believe in is that people should have a voice, and like Susan and Catherine said before, we should have more town forums and more input from the residents of our town. We shouldn't be making decisions on our own. We should be making decisions based on what people want. Thank you.
Thank you. Our third question. What do you see as the greatest current challenge facing Fountain Hills, and what specific actions would you take at the town council level to address it? Why is solving this issue important, and what tangible impact would residents see if it were successfully resolved? First up, Jeff Tate.
Wow, back to back. Let's see. I think our biggest challenge right now is actually getting back to nonpartisanship in our town council. If you've watched any town council meeting, they're not exemplifying nonpartisanship. National and state politics are filtered down to our town. These issues shouldn't take up the time and efforts of your elected officials. And they shouldn't take up any time of our town staff. We need to keep it local. Anyways, if I was on the town council, I would gladly explain any of my thought processes in arriving at my decisions. And we may not agree, but you'll know why we don't agree. Thanks.
Thank you. Next up, Dan Kovacevic.
Our roads need attention. We've been able to get our street budgets over $8 million in fiscal year starting in June, up from $5 million 5 years ago. Even continuing that allocation, fixing our roads is going to be a 4 to 5 year project. We need to continue with that $8 million allocation annually. We need to continue saving from the lake liner. We have $7 million saved out of about an $18 million expenditure. We need to keep saving until it's failed or we've saved enough. And if it fails, we're going to have to deal with that. Off budget, P&Z and council get ready to resume consideration of new wireless facilities ordinance. There's some in town that'll tell you this is the purview of the FCC and not the town. I reviewed many outstanding municipal ordinances from coast to coast as part of P&Z's review. Courts have upheld those ordinances. P&Z will recommend the best parts of those ordinances. I will only vote for an ordinance that has the best parts of those ordinances. Our utilities in residential areas belong underground. We need to control as much of the wireless facility situation as we can. We can't leave it up to the FCC or AT&T. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Matthew Corrigan.
Well, sometimes when the answer has already been given, it's kind of tough to readdress the answer. I think Dan did a pretty good job. I will say one thing, that streets are being paved, and the lake liner is an unknown commodity. But we can address that, putting set-asides. We have reserves for that, slowly but surely. Remember, it's like an insurance plan. It just set aside enough money over time, and we will be assured that that lake liner will be replaced. Prior to this last 2 years, there wasn't much in reserves. I commend the council and the mayor for setting aside some money to do that. And again, back to streets. Strategic plan development. We are paving streets, we're getting it done. There's much more to do. Why? Because I guess it was neglected in the past. We need to address past problems and correct those problems now, and we are doing it. Those problems are being solved. The other thing is 5G. Interesting question. I'm also 100% supportive of everything underground. When they planned this community, a long time ago, McCullough, and with the assistance of Mr. Webb, designed add-on, everything was to go underground. You don't see the telephone lines around here. You don't see any of that. It's all designed to go underground. Let's keep it that way. I'm 100% support for 5G broadband, different than cellular. It's not this, it's underground. And it's got to be underground. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, Ben Larrabee.
So the single greatest issue we are facing right now is our roads. Not only is it the greatest issue, but it will be our greatest investment. Fountain Hills roads right now are worth an estimated $250 million. Problem is, there's about $50 million in maintenance that we need to catch up on. Now the good news is, we were able to put $10 million in fiscal year 2026 into the roads, and we have another $8 million scheduled as of right now in fiscal year 2027. So here's the two things you will see from that. One, you won't be hitting potholes driving down the road anymore on the residents. And two, you will see your tax dollars put towards the roads, but you won't see a bond or another tax going to pay for it. But I want to just take a moment, because what Jeff just said is so important. Nonpartisanship on town council is incredibly important, and obviously we must restore that. But then I do have to ask, if nonpartisanship is what you're worried about, why would Jeff be posting about assassinating the president on his wife's Facebook? Someone just do it, please. I'm not promoting this. This man is take a guy who's a walking piece of X. You cannot claim to want to represent our residents and speak like this.
Turning point. We need to stop this behavior. You will remember 4 years ago, we cleared the room. We will clear the room again, and you will only get to see it on video. No bashing other candidates, and no outbursts. Thank you.
One moment. If I may, one more thought. What's so important is there are many people here that will not vote for any candidates no matter what. And it's still our job to serve them, even if they don't vote for us. You cannot sit on the council and say, I don't want to serve you, but I hope the president dies.
Turning point bomb.
Thank you.
Next up, Susan DeGennaro.
Hey, thank you. Wow. Okay. So, yeah, I think that one of the greatest challenges that this town is facing right now is its reputation. When you Google Fountain Hills news stories, it's not all good. Okay. So I love the plan. I love the idea that we're going to take care of our roads. I love this idea that we're going to prioritize and we're going to get down to what's best for this town. But it comes down to this. We need leadership that doesn't just make plans, but that actually can work together to make it happen. That's what we need. I would like to go on record right now. I would like to go on record right now that I am running a clean campaign. I refuse absolutely to disparage or discuss anything about any of my other candidates. I would like to challenge the rest of my panelists here to make that pledge as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Please hold your applause. Next up, Catherine Mirick.
Thank you. To start off with, I agree with Susan's pledge. If we can't get elected on our own merits without bashing the people next to us, you don't want us on the council. In terms of the biggest challenges for the town, overall, it's our town finances, it's the lake liner, it's the roads, it's supporting our local businesses. But even more so, it's working together, getting the town on the same page so that we can accomplish things in a reasonable period of time. Our downtown strategy plan was first put together about 2 years ago, and it literally took the council and P&Z 20 months and more than 10 meetings to finally pass that zoning ordinance and apply it about a week ago. That doesn't need to happen. And during none of that back and forth of, we'll vote for it, but we want this change, so it goes back to P&Z, and then P&Z makes changes or doesn't make changes and sends it back to the council. Watching all of those meetings, I didn't hear anyone say, maybe we should have a joint meeting and talk this through and get it done. That's an example of what we need to do to work together to accomplish things for our town. Thanks.
Thank you. Before we move on to question number 4, I want to remind everyone that we're here to listen to the candidates and be respectful of each other's thoughts and opinions, even if they disagree with our own. One thing that I believe was implied, I'm hoping that we didn't have to say it, but we cannot be making personal attacks or other disruptive actions in the crowd. So I ask everyone to please let's maintain composure here so we can get through the remaining questions and have a productive forum here. Okay. So question number 4. Fountain Hills benefits from a strong culture of volunteerism and community involvement. What local organizations or initiatives have you been involved in, and how have those experiences shaped your understanding of the town's needs? How have they prepared you to serve effectively on the town council? First up, Susan DeGennaro.
Oh, I'm so grateful for this question. Thank you very much. When I moved here 7 years ago, I really took it upon myself to get involved in the town. I call myself a habitual volunteer. I actually need a little intervention. It's not because I can't say no, but it's because I really can't pass up the opportunity to help. What have I been involved in town? A lot of different organizations, but most importantly, in the past year, I was selected as a member of the Leadership Academy here, and that truly shaped my decision to run for council. Given my background, given the volunteerism, and I don't know how many seconds do I have, I volunteer with my talent. I give blood every 4 or 5 times a year. I volunteer with the Red Cross as well, St. Mary's Food Kitchen, STEM outreach programs, Make a Difference Day. I am responsible for keeping your festival free because I'm in charge of the silent auction at the Dark Sky Festival. I have invested myself in this town without fail, and the Leadership Academy showed me, by taking me around to all of the pieces of this town, showed me where my skill set fits directly with supporting, helping, and growing and sustaining this town. I am super grateful for the majority of my team, who are my class of class 9, who are here right now supporting us. I am so grateful for the opportunity, and that has prepared me. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Catherine Mirick.
Hi, thank you. So I'm continually amazed at how much Fountain Hills runs on its volunteers. So many things that happen in town and support all different aspects of this town are run by volunteers. When I moved here, I decided that I needed to jump in, but I needed to figure out where. And so I too was in Susan's Leadership Academy class last fall. It was a great opportunity to learn all about the businesses and the nonprofits in town. I've worked on Make a Difference Day several years. Love going back and looking at Four Peaks Park at the trees that we planted. And some of them are dead, some of them grew, but you can't get it all. I volunteered at the Dark Sky Festival. But mostly, right now, I'm up here. I'm campaigning to be on your town council, to be a voice for you. I hear we do get like $400 a month, but I still call it a volunteer position. because I feel like my background, my talents can really be put to work for the town to continue to improve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Ben Larrabee.
So just to start off, obviously I'm on my church's board and I enjoy serving there. And of course, we have a little organization called the Club that I'm a part with, and we meet, we commiserate, have dinner every week. Now, one thing you obviously learn is from meeting a variety of different people in both roles is how to work with difficult personalities, which of course, based on my history, will obviously be needed when we're on the council, whether it's dealing with other council members when we disagree, or of course, dealing with residents who want to get a point across. But one thing I particularly want to mention is how I volunteered is, for those of you who don't know, obviously the Fountain Hills School District High School does a yearly lock-in every year, and of course we've been a part of that, and that's coming up as well. But this hits home to me, because my family has been very, very involved in the school district. My little cousin just graduated from Falcon, my aunt served on the PTO board for years. But what they're seeing happen now is all the volunteers now, and it breaks my heart, they think that they're left alone. They think nobody is coming to help them. So when you ask how does it affect me and how it will inform my time on the council, I want to be sure we can do everything we can to make sure that the parents of the volunteers for the school district don't feel left alone. Going back to our greatest investment, I did say it was roads, I actually think it's our children. Because I want to be sure if they choose to go to Fountain Hills High, that school is still going to be here 10 years from now.
Thank you. Next up, Matthew Corrigan.
Well, volunteerism is an interesting thing. I thank everyone in this room for being a volunteer on some committee. It's amazing. I think Fountain Hills has probably an exceptional number of volunteers in town. They're everywhere. Everywhere you look, it's a volunteer organization. All of you who share that volunteer spirit are to be commended. One of the things that maybe is overlooked is the Economic Development Committee. They're volunteers. I serve on planning and zoning with other commissioners who, some are in the audience. We're not compensated to do it as a volunteer responsibility. We're appointed to that post. And again, it's based on, hopefully, it's based on competency, it's based on experience, and it's based on some sort of knowledge of building and planning and zoning and so on. That's important. Again, this is really a job interview, folks. But as for organizations, I belong to Elks, a local Elks club. I'm a Sons of the American Legion member. There's a number of groups I'm involved with here in town, but it's about you, really. It's all about you. And none of us up here are being compensated too much, yet we're out there knocking on doors and so on. Some in the audience who are actually on the council get $400 a month before taxes. So, folks, everybody understands that you can make more at McDonald's in 2 weeks than you can on the council, and it takes a lot of work. And let me just answer the question of, I got the right time. I got to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Jeff Tate.
All right. Well, I've been here about 4 years. I had mentioned earlier I have my own business. I'm still full-time in the workforce. I'm not retired. However, I volunteered. I did make a difference today, which was great. I've helped out. For some reason, people always want me as the grunt. So I've lugged a lot of stuff into the silent auction on Dark Skies, and moved chairs and done whatever I could to help. I'm doing this to become more involved. This is my giving back to the town. And in the past, we have worked on PTA, we've worked on playground builds, and all sorts of other things. So we're new here, we're getting a feel of the town, and we definitely do have lots of volunteers up here in town, and it's fantastic to see. So, thanks.
Thank you. Next up, Dan Kovacevic.
Yeah, I'm a member of the Elks. I give credit to my wife, but the concession earnings just gave out $5,000 in scholarships. Those of you in the back too can thank you. I'm a member of a son at American Legion Post 58. They just gave out $20,000 in scholarships on Sunday. I'm a friend of the Chamber of Commerce. I've served 7 years on planning and zoning. This is my second year as the chairman. We've written a lot of good legislation for the town on sober homes. We've written Chapter 17 of the zoning ordinance for wireless towers. We've reviewed the downtown overlay, and that's come back to us twice. We're currently reviewing Chapter 16 when that gets back to us from council. And we've done a lot of good work on planning and zoning in the last 7 years. So how have they shaped my understanding of the town's needs? Well, the agenda comes to us. It's given me the reason to attend council meetings and sort of derive what the town needs from that. And after running our stuff through town council, sometimes they accept our recommendations, sometimes they don't. But it's prepared me to serve effectively on the town council and to look at all sides of the issue before casting a vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to question number 5. There are several vacant or underutilized parcels in the downtown corridor. How do you believe the town council should approach attracting and guiding development in these areas? And what types of projects or businesses do you feel would contribute most to strengthening economic vitality while maintaining the character of Fountain Hills? First up, Matthew Corrigan.
We just finished the downtown overlay. Planning and zoning passed that. Council approved it. It's a done deal. That's great. Thank you to the council. And thank you to my fellow commissioners here for getting that done. There's some complicated issues, but generally I think that's been worked out with the downtown overlay now. We have 3 more or less development zones. We've got the downtown Avenue of the Fountains area, we've got the business district, and we've got the basically what I call innovative district, and that's the name of it. So we have a plan, we have a way to go ahead. There's a little bit of a complication because Plat 208 is, I think there's over 100 owners of Plat 208, so it's hard to get a consensus on that particular chunk of property. But I think the downtown overlay will solve some of those problems. So rather than go into the red again, I'm gonna make it, I got the green. I'm gonna make a shorter answer this time. And I hope that answers the question, but what business projects do you approve of? I approve of a recent development, which is a 6-unit condo next to the Chase Bank. We all passed it, planning and zoning passed that because it followed the plan for the downtown overlay. And it also gave a lot of access to both business, so it's a mixed-use development, retail on the bottom and residential on top. That's the ideal plan. Now I do have the red side, thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Jeff Tate.
Yeah, we just did see the new overlay passed, so mixed use downtown is important. We need people down there, we need residents, and bringing in those developments is important. And keeping the same small town feel with close residences and retail, being able to have a walkable area, and tying that into possibly more of a more vibrant entertainment area, maybe on Parkview or another area like that. It's all things that can be discussed and developed as time goes on. We've got the bones, so to speak. We just need to bring the people in and businesses in. Thanks.
Thank you. Next up, Catherine Mirick.
Hi, thank you. So this is one of the things that I do think we really need to look at. If you park and then you're walking down to Phil's filling station, there's not a sidewalk on part of that road, and and you might run into tumbleweeds as you're going along, and we need to fix that. There is a downtown strategy plan that Amanda Jacobs, our economic development director, has been putting together and working really hard on, in addition to a plan to work with current businesses on business retention and expansion. She's also got her community economic development strategy that's looking to go out and find new businesses to move into town. I think one of the big things there is looking at mixed-use developments. At a presentation, I think it was at the last town council meeting, John Wesley, the development services director, presented that if we really want to have a vibrant downtown, we need something like 400 more apartments down there. That seems excessive to me, but I think we should need to take baby steps to start building more population so we have people to serve those businesses that we want downtown. Also, obviously, the improvements on Rio Verde and Parkview that are in design stages will be a big help in terms of making that more welcoming to people, both tourists and residents. And no one's mentioned it yet, but that big corner on Saguaro and Avenue of the Fountains where the Park Place was supposed to be, we need to get something there.
Thank you. Next up, Dan Kovacevic.
Thanks, and thanks for coming back to this question. I started on it with question number one. There's about 17,000 people within 5 miles of the downtown, and we don't want huge numbers. We're not going to ever get a Landry's restaurant concept downtown. We're not ever going to get a Garden restaurant concept downtown. But we need to bring in more visitors and more residents. The people need to come first, and the rest will follow. What we've done with the downtown overlay, and that's why it was so important, is to allow residential by right on the second and third floors of the buildings so that it would make it more economically feasible for somebody to come in and build, because the residences will lease or sell. The first two projects we've seen were condominiums on the second and third floor. And that'll drive getting the retail built and the entertainment built, and that will drive the development of the downtown. We have the state trust land coming, I referred to it earlier. That we have to allow for a wide variety of housing there, including school-age children to support the schools, and that will bring people downtown as well. We have the entrepreneurs. There's so many successful businesses in this town, and it's Fountain Hills residents. And look at the restaurants. The highest grossing restaurants in town are run by Fountain Hills restaurateurs. So we need to import and attract the spending power so that our entrepreneurs can meet the market. So let's get residents into town.
Thank you. Next up, Ben Larrabee.
So I'm so glad we were able to touch on this, because small businesses are obviously the lifeblood of our town right now. As has already been mentioned, I'm so excited for the downtown overlay district to have more of a night town feel, so we can attract younger people to live, work, and experience Fountain Hills downtown. But I want to sidetrack just for a moment, because I want to tell you about a time when me and my wife took a business trip to Nashville, and we were so excited to see Broadway for the first time, and then we left incredibly disappointed. Because for its reputation, every shop is the same, every restaurant sells the same food, every bar played the same music, and none of it was country. We just looked at ourselves like, you know what, this is why we live in Fountain Hills. Because everything is so unique in every store that you go into. Many of you already follow me online and see that I try to do a small business Saturday every week, where we try to go and shout out and spend money at local businesses here in town. And I've been so privileged to talk with them and hear them, whether it's their needs, whether it's red tape, whether it's problems that they're experiencing. So any job a person sitting on the town council has to be sure they're, one, communicating with businesses, two, making sure that the chamber is in constant communication with them so we can attract and advertise for new businesses downtown, and most importantly, make sure the council does everything they can to attract and support small business in town, because if we want to remain a small town, that's how we do it.
Thank you. Next up, Susan DeGennaro.
many of you can look out behind me at the big building right behind me. Isn't quite open yet, but is a very unique way to bring people to this town. The International Dark Sky Discovery Center is a boon for this town. Whether you supported it or didn't, it's here now, and we need to leverage that. We're already leveraging it a little bit by having cooperation with the students at ASU and NAU and U of A, I believe, too, that are coming here. People are already talking about having parties here, having like an engagement party or a wedding. All of these opportunities are right in front of us. It is a unique way for us to draw businesses to this town, to draw visitors to this town. That building is in itself a big distinguishing factor for this town. So what would I do as far as strengthening the economic vitality? I try to leverage that, that's for darn sure. I mean, it's a perfect opportunity. We are a dark sky town. We have this wonderful fountain. We have this wonderful dark sky center. We should be looking to bringing people here and how we can leverage that and build more businesses that tie that in and bring more visitors here. Thanks.
Thank you. Question number 6. Fountain Hills does not have a primary property tax and relies heavily on sales tax revenue. In that context, how do you define being business-friendly, and what specific policies or actions would you support to attract, retain, and grow businesses in a way that increases revenue without compromising community values? First up, Ben Larrabee.
So you're correct that we don't have a primary property tax, nor should we have one. If we want to talk about attracting young families in town, one of the biggest inhibitors of owning a home is taxes for first-time buyers. So if you want to have people that come into town that are ready to grow families like mine, work here, play here, invest here, I'm glad that we don't have one, and I will never work to pass one while I am on council. Now, this issue is actually personal to me, because like I mentioned, my wife and I welcomed our daughter last week. And when I'm meeting with young people in town, one of the first things that they tell me is, I love Fountain Hills, my family is here, I want to raise my family here, but I want to be sure we have the opportunities here as well. This is why I've been so big on attracting a keystone business in town, so that we can make sure that, like my family has had the honor of doing, young families like mine can invest in the town as well. That will have a ramification of effects, whether it's helping revitalize the downtown, getting younger families into our school board, making sure we have a bigger tax base. But on the tax question, though, and on the budget question, right now we've had 2 big tax cuts that are either here or going to be coming. One is obviously going to be the rental tax, which cut about $700,000 from our revenue. The next is the grocery tax, which, if it's passed, is going to be another $2 to $3 million off of that as well. Now, the good news is, if elected, I will be able to use my background to make sure every single dollar that is spent wisely, and we don't have to reach back into your pockets to take more of it out before we get our fiscal house in order.
Thank you. Next up, Susan DeGennaro.
So, prior to being a software developer, I was actually a public accountant. I worked at Rutgers University in their facilities maintenance department, and then I was a school business administrator at a school district that had 17 schools. So I'm very familiar with budgets like this and how to make sure that we're not just talking about budget discipline, but we're talking about visible results tied into the budget. So those are the things that we should be looking at. Lower taxes are great, but if you don't know what the money's being used for, that's sort of important to you, right? You deserve proof of where your money is being used and used well. As far as policies to be more business friendly, one of the things I hear from the business owners that I have talked to over the last few months, and while I've been living here, is they want to make sure that there are clear rules and clear steps to follow. There are predictable approvals. I understand that there's red tape we have to go through, but I keep hearing a lot of, I thought I was going to get approved, then I approved, that is not sounding business friendly. So clearer rules, predictable approvals, targeted incentives to bring businesses here to get them to work with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Jeff Tate.
All right. As far as defining being business friendly, obviously, I mean, we want to be streamlined in our process for approvals along the steps of the way. We want to make sure that we do have exact policies so that we're not changing the rules, we're not moving the goalpost for each business. This new overlay is fantastic. It makes it business friendly. One thing we keep hearing over and over again is we want to keep Fountain Hills a small town. Well, 450 new residential units downtown is expansion. There has to be expansion in order for us to keep up our roads. One thing was mentioned earlier, this town was originally designed for 72,000 residents. That's why we have so many roads. And there were supposed to be 72,000 people spending money here to support those roads. So we have to think outside the box and come up with other solutions. But bringing small business in is definitely the start, and bringing more residents to the downtown is the start. So, thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Catherine Mirick.
Thank you. So, obviously, most of our income comes from our local sales tax, which at 9.2% is among the highest in the state. If you drive to Scottsdale to shop, you only pay 8%. So we need to make sure that the businesses that we have in town are places that people want to shop, like some of the great shops that we already have down on Avenue of the Fountains. I too have heard that the town is not business friendly for a variety of reasons, and we need to look further into that and survey our businesses and say what would make this town more business friendly and see if we can make those changes. I will say one of the big benefits we have is our chamber is amazing. I recently became a member of the Chamber of Commerce. Most of the businesses in town are members of the Chamber of Commerce, and every time you go to an event, you see business owners supporting their neighbors. They come out for ribbon cuttings, they come out for gatherings. The gala a few weeks ago was just a wonderful event of our business community coming together and supporting each other, and I think we need to encourage that and incorporate and improve the town piece of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Dan Kovacevic.
We do not have a primary property tax, and I intend to keep it that way as well. As far as the sales tax revenue will follow people. And we do need business-friendly practices in town. We do need to support our businesses, but in order to we'll be really friendly to businesses if we bring them an extra 1,500 customers. And everybody will do well and everybody will be happy. So that's why I supported the overlay district. I supported the density. First go around, I was trying to get 50 units an acre downtown, because that translates to about 25, which is the maximum in our ordinance. Because there's no residences on the parking, but if you're going to calculate the density over the entire block, that parking is part of the area. And so even at 450 units downtown, there's 40 acres downtown. So that's only 11 units an acre. So it's not going to be crowded, we're not going to create traffic problems, and the business will follow the people, and the business will be happy if we get people into town.
Thank you. Next up, Matthew Corrigan.
I think the short answer to the question is we do have a business-friendly environment, and I don't like hearing, rumors or information that goes contrary to that. I think the evidence is in who we have seen come to town. So Dutch Brothers is here, and on the slate, as we all know, is Sprouts, Dairy Queen, I don't know how many of you know, but there's a new restaurant coming to that area over at a beautiful view on the hill. There was another restaurant called The View, and it will now be a new restaurant with that same great view. You know what I'm talking about, next to the Fry's supermarket on Shea? Fantastic. So I think we're doing a pretty good job attracting business. I don't like to hear the scuttlebutt about, oh, Fountain Hills is not business friendly. I'm planning and zoning. Gee, my experience is we approve projects all the time. And, you know, where we don't, there's always an avenue to come back and readdress the issue if there's something missing from the project. Nobody is being blocked out. Nobody's being discouraged. We welcome business. And just backing up to that, we have a lot of attractive things here. Getting back to what I said originally, you know, the whole idea of development, the whole idea of attracting businesses to do the right thing here in Fountain Hills will happen. You just have to have a strategic plan. So that's happening right now. Don't listen to people who say it is not. It is happening. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to question number 7, why? What motivates you to serve on the town council? And what specific skills or experiences do you bring that make you well qualified for this role? How do you believe your service would positively impact the future of Fountain Hills? First up, Catherine Mirick.
Thank you. So, I moved to Fountain Hills just about 2 years ago, and before that, I was a stay-at-home mom and a community volunteer. I had lived in one house for more than 20 years, so you can imagine the whirlwind of my husband and I moving cross country. But after that settled, I started to try and find my space here in Fountain Hills. Where could I devote my time and my talents to help my new home? I learned a lot about the town. I started watching council meetings, and I was actually shocked by the way the mayor and the council treated each other, the way they cut each other off, they called each other out, and they just bickered on the dais. I was like, this is not a productive way to run a town. And then, last November, the council voted to end call to the public, and that was just a step too far for me. The elected body decided that they no longer needed to hear from their constituents. It's not right, it's not how local government should work, and that was the impetus that made me step forward and raise my hand to run. I don't know all the answers, but we've got a lot of smart people in town. We have an excellent town staff from what I've seen so far, and I'm going to be listening to all of them, taking in all the data, and working on making informed decisions, so that's why I'm here.
Thank you. Next up, Dan Kovacevic.
I addressed this in my opening remarks. What motivated me to run was when council gave away $2.7 million to a developer. I was a developer for 25 years. Nobody ever gave me $2.7 million. Frankly, that ticked me off. My experience, I have experienced that award that I think would be very good on the town. I built homes for 25 years. I served on the National Association of Home Builders Board. I served on the Home Builders Association of Illinois Board. I was president of the Home Builders Association of Greater Chicago, 1,400 members in that association in 2006, before the market crashed. I have a lot of experience that I think will benefit all the residents on Fountain Hills. I'm a numbers guy. You heard me tonight, I'm talking about numbers. And I believe that I can help the town save money, I can help the town spend its money wisely, and I can serve the residents of this town very well.
Thank you. Next, Matthew Corrigan.
Back to the job interview. I can add value to the town. My experience is that I work for 2 Fortune 500 companies. I own and operate my own business. I served as a vice president of a 210-home HOA board. And all these things I was successful. So, hey, look, now I'm retired. I want to give that back to Fountain Hills. The whole thing about volunteerism, I don't know what the exact number is of volunteers in this town, but quite frankly, I think $400 is kind of like a volunteer project. But I'm not trying to besmirch that anyway. I want to add value to this town. I addressed it in my opening remarks. I have 5 key strategic principles that I want to operate under. You heard about them, and I'd like to take time in my closing remarks to re-amplify that. The important thing here is, the question is, what motivates you to serve on town council? The fact that I see the mayor and the council going the right direction, not the wrong direction. And I want to support that. I want to amplify that so we can go forward. Let me address an issue that came up. No one is deprived of First Amendment rights, which I love. And getting back to this whole thing about call to the public, there was a problem back in November when we had an outburst of disruptive behavior. That's what caused a re-change in the whole plan of town council meetings for call to the public to be moved to the end. I used to participate in that, and I still respect it. It's still happening.
Thank you. Next up, Jeff Tate.
All right, as far as what makes me qualified for the position, I was on the budget committee. I'm used to doing thorough reviews of budgets, having discussions with department heads. We had, in the town I lived in, we had 12 departments that we dealt with, going through line by line, hours. It's not very exciting work, but it has to be done. I'm motivated to serve because I love living here. I feel all residents should have a voice. The positive impact I'd like to have is just that, getting back to making Fountain Hills a town that works for its residents. Thanks.
Thank you. Next up, Susan DeGennaro.
So you kind of stole my thunder, because this is what my closing was all about. So I'm going to try to think of, or put down things that are specific, that aren't in my closing. What specific skills do I have? I hear a lot of people who are business people who try to come onto a council where it's a public entity and don't understand the accounting is much different on a public entity. So one of the strengths I have is actually having that background. The other thing that I really want to stress here is all of my life I have been in roles where I was sometimes the only woman in the room. And what I was tasked with was dealing with very many strong personalities who had differing opinions about where that certain project were to go. So one of the strengths that I absolutely have is that I will talk to anyone. I will listen to everyone. I will bring consensus. I have done that in my job successfully for over 25 years. That is my strength. That is my strong suit. I listen. I ask a lot of questions. Anybody who's dealt with me in any of the projects that I've been on, I ask a lot of questions because that's the important thing. To trust the experts, ask the questions, and listen. So I think that I am qualified for this role because of all of my service and dedication here and my specific skill set. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Ben Larrabee.
So there's 2 specific reasons why I'm before you tonight. One was, as I was attending council members over the last year, we kept having to address the issue of Republic Services and its fee hike. For those of you who don't know, Republic Services was set to raise our trash fees by 32%. Me being newly married and now a father, obviously every dollar counts. So, one, I want to be sure that I am able to use my data analytical background to spot savings and waste when it occurs. And then 2, what also motivated me to run is when I saw certain council members who had received donations from Republic Services then voting to increase our rates. I want to be sure that not only we get the lowest cost possible for our residents and for families like mine, but also to make sure we hold our fellow council members accountable when they err. But the second reason is going back to my family. Because I want to be sure that my daughter grows up in a safe Fountain Hills. I want to be sure that we can work with our law enforcement, so whether it's families like mine or others, everybody continue to thrive in the safe community we all know and love. That's why I'm so proud to have the endorsement of our County Sheriff, Jerry Sheridan, and I look forward to working with our law enforcement to make sure that Fountain Hills even though it is one of the 50 top safest towns in the nation, that we continue to make sure that for my daughter's generation, it remains safe and it remains prosperous.
Thank you. That concludes the questions portion of our program this evening. We're going to move on to closing statements. I do want to remind everyone, please hold your applause till the very end. So closing statements, just as a reminder, we have 2 minutes for each candidate. First up, Matthew Corrigan.
Thanks for letting me be first. I hope that's the way the vote comes out. I believe in economic vitality, public safety, smart development, fiscal responsibility, and quality of life. I have a background of working for 2 Fortune 500 companies. I owned and operated my own small business. I served, volunteer-wise, as the VP of a 210-home HOA board. And all of these things I was successful. And currently I'm serving as a commissioner on the Planning and Zoning Commission here in Fountain Hills. And so talk about private and public service. I have had opportunities to experience both private and public, and I've applied my experience in both of those, issues, those types of decorum, those types of strategy, those types of private, public sector dimension. So when we're talking about budgeting, when we're talking about decision-making, it's all pretty much the same. There's just a different way that the scales are measured. So, working with planning and zoning has been a great benefit to me in understanding the inside workings of the town and how we do things. It's very, very productive for me to know that. Most of all, I want to state publicly that I am against any primary property tax. It's an attractive thing for Fountain Hills, and we need to keep it that way. And also, in strategic plan development, we're making our neighborhoods safer, stronger, and doing it creatively. How? Because we're taking school land, which would otherwise be unused, and this is not a Fountain Hills problem. The problem is national, because we have declining populations in our schools. How can we use that in a reasonable way? If we vote, and we did, I think it was 67% of us in town voted in favor of selling school land. That's the answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Susan DeGennaro.
Problem with the mic. I'm not a fan, so. Okay. Over and over, I get the question, why are you doing this? And often when I get that, I start with my detailed resume, which you can all see on LinkedIn. My background in public accounting, my service to the community, my long list of volunteerism, and how I do own my own small business. But it comes down to one thing that's shaped my passion for community service. Our son was 6 months old when my husband went in for brain surgery. Things did not go well, and he was in the hospital for 2.5 years before he died. During that time, I was alone. I had no community to help me. I don't want anyone ever to feel that way. I want to build and maintain and be part of a community where neighbors help neighbors. I recognize that I can do that by serving on council. 7 years ago, I intentionally made Fountain Hills my home. My commitment and dedication to this town have been shown in my time with the Leadership Academy, my work with the various nonprofits, and my work with the Dark Sky Festival, keeping the festival free for you and your families. I am excited to bring my energy, my focus, my inquisitive nature, and my work ethic to this council. I want to thank the Chamber, of which I am a member, the FHCCA, and everyone else for coming out or listening to the recording. I have learned so much tonight, and I want to thank my fellow panelists for taking the time to come out here tonight, and this forum for giving us the ability to showcase our individual strengths. I commit tonight to listen to residents. Again, whether it's a whisper or a shout, I'm going to listen. I promise that my decisions will always be open and data-driven, and that I will focus on the outcomes that strengthen our town. I'm Susan DeGennaro, and I'm asking for your vote July 21st. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Dan Kovacevic.
I believe the experience I have as a council member would benefit all residents of the town of Fountain Hills. We're a town that runs on a tight budget with no property tax, primary property tax. We've talked about that tonight. I started my career as a CPA. I'm currently a CFO. I understand financial due diligence and fiscal responsibility. We have acres of state trust land that may be coming in for zoning. I've zoned many subdivisions, nearly 1,000 homes, and I'm the current chairman of our Planning and Zoning Commission, your Planning and Zoning Commission. I understand the complexities of real estate development. We're trying to get more sales tax revenue from our downtown. I've managed 2.5 million square feet of mostly retail properties, and I understand retail synergy. It is personal to me that Fountain Hills school children graduate well educated. I have 2 granddaughters in the Fountain Hills School District. I have a vested interest in the well-being of our schools. I've experienced working with many of the issues facing Fountain Hills. I'm asking you to approve my move from an advisory role to decision maker. I'd be honored to serve on the council, and I would greatly appreciate your vote. Thank you for your consideration, and thank you to the Chamber, FHCCA, and SRP for this opportunity.
Thank you. Next up, Ben Larrabee.
So, this election is going to be a choice. Your choice. What kind of town do we want to live in? And most importantly, who do we want to serve? I am running for town council because when ballots drop in June, I believe I am the clear choice to serve. Because Fountain Hills needs somebody who has the skills to step into the role on day one. This town needs somebody who embodies the leadership and has the experience to work with our mayor and our other council members to improve the lives of our residents. This town needs somebody who has the technical knowledge to streamline our budget and continue to deliver results for our residents. And most of all, this town is going to need somebody who is going to be passionate enough about the job to work and keep Fountain Hills the crown jewel of the valley. While we say all that is Arizona, we also know that there is no other place like Fountain Hills. It is our home, and that is why it's our job to make sure that not only do we preserve it for our generation, but for future generations to come. I'm Ben Larrabee, and I hope to have your vote.
Thank you. Next up, Catherine Mirick.
Thank you. As I talk with residents of Fountain Hills, we all share our love of this desert community. The panoramic views, the numerous festivals, and of course the iconic fountain. That's the beautiful veneer over our town. What people don't like is the political divisiveness and the ugly headlines. When you look at the Fountain Hills Times top 10 stories from 2025, 5 of them are negative headlines about our town council. When you Google Fountain Hills and area news sources, you see headlines like, Fountain Hills Council votes to end public comment, and Fountain Hills Town Council retaliates against newspaper, and Fountain Hills Town Attorney quits after witch hunt. I want to help build a town where what's underneath matches that beautiful veneer we see at first glance, where the council spends its time helping residents, rather than building personal political capital. I'm relatively new to town, which in my book is a plus. No one person has all the answers, and what I bring is the ability to listen, to weigh the facts, and to make thoughtful, informed decisions. As a recent transplant, I'm not burdened by checkered histories or long-term grudges. I don't have anyone that I won't speak to because of a controversial position they took. I'm not running to represent a faction, a party, or a political identity. I'm running to represent you, Fountain Hills residents, with collaborative leadership, respectful growth, responsible spending, and real transparency. I would love to meet and talk to each of you about what you see is important for Fountain Hills. Please reach out to me through my website at catherineforcouncil.com, and we'll find a time. I'm up here tonight because I am a leader who's experienced, who's ready to listen, and who will bring a fresh perspective to your town council. I'm Catherine Mirick, and I'm asking for your vote on July 21st. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Jeff Tate.
From first to last. All right, over the last few months, I've attended several chamber ribbon cutting ceremonies. The support and enthusiasm shown at these events are fantastic boosts for our local businesses. But with the current partisan atmosphere in town, something has stuck with me after every ribbon cutting ceremony. The Toastmaster always ends their proclamation acknowledging Fountain Hills as the friendliest town in the nation. I really want that to be true for us, for all of us. Friendliness is not partisan. It doesn't shut out ideas or people because they have opposing views. We need to get back to that because strong communities aren't built on national politics. They're built locally, neighbor by neighbor. I'd like to thank our host tonight, the Chamber, FHCCA, SRP, our moderator, and our timekeeper. Thank you. And I'd like to show some special appreciation to the people at home who will watch this forum, because it's important to know who's running for your town council so you can make an informed decision for the future of Fountain Hills. Don't forget to vote July 21st, and I'd appreciate your support for Jeff Tate for council. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So that concludes our Town Council Candidate Forum. Before I welcome Betsy Lavoie back to the podium to share closing remarks, let's give a round of applause for all of our And now I'll turn it over to Betsy, who will offer closing remarks on behalf of the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce and the Fountain Hills Cultural and Civic Association.
Thank you, Jack. Ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude our 2026 October Town Council Candidate Forum, I want to sincerely extend my heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you for attending tonight, to our future audience who's going to watch on video. We actually did live stream, but we didn't tell anyone because we weren't sure if it's going to work or not. So I'm not sure if there was anyone watching on the live stream, but if you are watching, we appreciate you. And especially to each and every one of you who take the time to run, to take the time to be here, to say yes to being at this forum so all of your neighbors can meet you. We appreciate each and every one of you. And truly, no matter what happens, just know that we have gratitude for your dedication to our town. A special thank you goes to everyone who has the vision of Fountain Hills, whether it looks different or the same. We appreciate that you have a vision for our beautiful town. And thank you once again for being here tonight to FHCCA, to Jeff, to Kathy Polterides from Toastmasters, and our chamber staff represented by Mary and I, and to our beautiful town of Fountain Hills. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.